Hello, everyone. Welcome to our event this evening. Please take a seat. There's plenty of seats over here as well for a good view. Distinguished faculty, friends, and colleagues, good evening and thank you for joining us tonight here in person and online for the official launch of LEAP, the Institute of Philanthropy's flagship fellowship program established to cultivate a new generation of philanthropic leaders across Asia. LEAP, Leadership Excellence in Asian Philanthropy, was developed in collaboration with globally renowned academic partners, the University of Hong Kong, the Abdul Latif Jameel Poverty Action Lab, based at MIT, and the London School of Economics and Political Science. We are grateful to gather here today at HKU's iCube alongside our partners and esteemed guests to celebrate this milestone event. My name is Dr. Tiffany Ting from the Institute of Philanthropy, and I'll be your MC this evening. It's now my pleasure to invite Mr. Brian San, Secretary General of the Institute of Philanthropy, to welcome you with opening remarks.
Thank you. Wow, what a fantastic crowd. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Professor Richard Wong, Provost and Deputy Vice Chancellor of the University of Hong Kong, distinguished guests, partners, friends, good evening and a very warm welcome to you all. For those of you joining us here in person in Hong Kong and also online from around the world. Here today, we have leaders from over 140 foundations in this group, as across 25 jurisdictions and countries. It's wonderful to see so many familiar faces and new friends gathered here today, and I'm thrilled to announce the launch of the Leadership Excellence in Asian Philanthropy program, LEAP. I'd like to begin by expressing our sincere thanks to our three academic partners, University of Hong Kong, JPAL, and LSE. Pulling together a program like this is no mean feat. Special thank you to Professor Wong, but to Guojun, to Balaji, to John, to Stefan, to Adrian, and all of your teams. What wonderful partners. Building leadership capacity has always been central for us at IOP. We're a think, fund, do tank. Yes, we're based here in Hong Kong, but really driven by Asia's needs. And we believe that to scale philanthropic impact, we must invest in those who lead it. And at this moment, we truly believe we have a unique window of opportunity for philanthropy in Asia. Yes, we have global tensions and challenges which surprise us continually every day. But also we do see so much promise. For example, policy changes that have been made across different Asian jurisdictions over the past decade have measurably boosted philanthropy in the billions. There is also greater recognition of the need for effective partnership between governments, markets, communities, and philanthropy, something that wasn't always there historically. And truly, philanthropists of all types, individual, corporate, faith-based, community, and state-led, are being more innovative and more collaborative. Strongly believe that the next few years will see new structures as well as new institutions emerge. And so this is a time when we need the leadership for today, but also for tomorrow. And that really is why we created LEAP. LEAP is designed to be an Asia-centric, collaborative, and very practical program, bringing together academic expertise and real-world experience to build a new generation of philanthropic leaders, people who can think strategically but also collectively, and can lead with both intellect as well as integrity. So allow me to share a little bit more about what you can look forward to in the program. So first, LEAP brings together the three world-leading institutions and faculty. And so we're privileged to collaborate with HKU, JPEL, and LSE. Fellows will learn directly from renowned scholars, but also practitioners who are shaping the field. Second, LEAP is about turning theory into practice. Each participant brings a real challenge or a current issue to tackle in the program. The goal is simple. Through the program, we move to action. And lastly, LEAP is about building a lasting community of practice that stays with you. LEAP Fellows will be connected with each other, with leading faculty, with experts, and with mentors throughout the program, and will be part of an enduring community. This truly is the start of a multi-year program that we hope will grow and grow. In terms of structure, LEAP will have 3 modules. Module 1, Philanthropic Leadership in the Asian Landscape, led by HKU. And we recognize that today's world is complex. We have geopolitics, we have regional nuances even and within Asia, and wicked social problems for all of us to tackle. This module will help us all navigate that. Second, Module 2, Measuring What Matters, Impact in Asian Philanthropy, is led by JPAL. Evidence-based, context-sensitive measurement is the foundation of good decision-making, good governance, and partnership. This module will cover how to make that work. And Module 3, Scaling Through Partnerships, Sector Collaboration in Asian Philanthropy, is led by LSE. This module recognizes that philanthropy, while substantial and resourceful, is also but a drop in the ocean compared to the size of the public and private sectors. And really, success is about collaboration across public sector, private sector, and communities, and what that truly takes to scale solutions in Asia and in the Asian context. We also know that learning doesn't just happen in the classroom. It happens when knowledge meets lived experience. And that's why we've designed LEAP to be hands-on and practice-based. So as mentioned, each participant brings a pressing sector challenge that they see. Could be about scale, could be about partnerships, could be about their organization, growth, or more. Fellows will then explore high-impact solutions through the collective wisdom of the program and each other. We're also delighted to introduce our philanthropic leadership advisors, who will be available throughout the program for virtual office hours. These advisors are accomplished foundation leaders from across Asia and around the world. Through one-on-one sessions, they're here to offer practical perspectives on leadership, on strategy, personal career pathways for our fellows, helping the fellows expand their horizons. And we will also be delighted to introduce our Philanthropist in Residence initiative, where a world-renowned leader in philanthropy will join and share their experience through fireside chats, small group dialogues, and formal meetups with the students, really presenting a unique chance to exchange ideas that reimagine their horizons. So all of these different experiences reinforce what we hope will make LEAP distinctive. It's ultimately more than a training program. It's a fellowship designed to connect knowledge with action, ideas with influence, and leaders with one another. We are so excited for this program. Hope you are too. And so once again, thank you to our partners, to our faculty, to everyone here today. Please look forward to an enriching evening ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brian. Next, it's my honor to invite Professor Richard Wong, SBS JP, Provost and Deputy Vice Chancellor of the University of Hong Kong, Chair of Economics, Director of Hong Kong Institute of Economics and Business Strategy, and Philip Wong Kennedy Wong, Professor in Political Economy, our gracious host tonight and program partner for a welcome address. Professor Wong.
Good evening, distinguished guests, partners, colleagues, and friends. Delighted to be able to participate in this wonderful launch of the LEAP, as you have asked. Thank you. I thought it was going to leap towards me. Okay. Well, we all know, many people have said that this is the century of Asia, but certainly, whether it is or it isn't, Asia is entering a very critical era of philanthropy, because wealth has grown, innovation, and so has social aspirations. They have come together, converge in our region, so that the opportunity to shape a new paradigm of giving, one that is driven by analysis, data, through collaboration, and then grounded in the relevant context of our own societies or our own neighborhoods and communities. We think that through LEAP, we aim to prepare leaders with the insight and the capacity to turn compassion into effective action and ambition into sustained, measurable impact. Sustained is very important because if it's not sustained, philanthropy vanishes. And to sustain that, you need to know there is impact. And to have impact, it needs to be observable and better measurable. This program, thanks to the initiative of the Institute of Philanthropy, which the Hong Kong Jockey Club and Charities Trust established and funds, this trust and the institute, whose commitment to building a better society is, in my view, second to none, at least from the vantage point of the University of Hong Kong. For decades, the trust has been a cornerstone of giving in Hong Kong, and now with the initiatives like LEAP and partnering with the Institute of Philanthropy, it's setting the pace for Asia as a whole. I have often viewed that the Jockey Club doesn't just support good projects, like giving donations to where I work, but it imagines what good can look like in the future. And that kind of foresight gives the birth of LEAP program, which aims to combine evidence, innovation, and collaboration to create lasting impact, not only in Hong Kong, but throughout Asia and beyond. At the University of Hong Kong, we share this vision. We are, at the end of the day, not only recipients of philanthropy, but we hope to train future leaders that will contribute to that vision through not only their skills in measuring impact, but also because they care and they are committed to it, attributes that are not just based on knowledge, but based on conviction. We believe that effective philanthropy requires not just resources, it calls for thoughtful, data-informed leadership, and most of all, by concern and care for the community of which we all are a part of, both locally and connected through our networks around the world. So the launching of LEAP underlines our belief that the sector must invest in people as much as in projects, nurturing future leaders who can shape the strategic, inclusive, and resilient systems of giving across Asia. And this program, which Brian has just introduced, represents a truly international collaboration between the Institute of Philanthropy, the Hong Kong U Business School, JPEL, and LSE. Together, we have designed a rigorous and immersive journey, philanthropic leadership in Asia, measuring what matters, impact in Asian philanthropy, and scaling through partnerships, sector collaborations in Asian philanthropy. All these three components together, I'm sure the only thing I regret is that I would not be a student. I think maybe after I retire, you may offer an opportunity for me to learn, if it is not too late at my age. So the first cohort, this April, will gather 30 to 35 emerging senior leaders who are ready to transform Asian philanthropy from within, and over 9 intensive days, participate in pre-program engagements, field visits, in-depth discussions, and post-program collaboration, so that the participants will gain not only the tools and frameworks, but also a powerful network of peers who share a common mission. For this, I am truly grateful to all those who have contributed to bring this program together, to take off at this time. Cannot be a better time. It should have been last year, perhaps even the year before, but it's not too late if it starts this month. So to our first LEAP participants, welcome to this start of a transformative journey. May you draw inspiration from this community, lead with heart and wisdom, and together shape the next chapter of philanthropy in Asia. I'd like to add one word. Since I am a Chinese, I cannot think of a better place to start philanthropy than in China. Actually, that's because China definitely would benefit enormously from it. Philanthropy is a rather interesting sector. Peter Drucker called it the third sector. The third sector is going to be an increasingly important part of the economy. For the simple reason, a very simple economic principle. Outside the third sector is the profit-making sector. The profit-making sector typically is highly productive. The more productive it gets, the smaller the sector will become. Because they're so productive, they don't need to hire a lot of people. So a lot of people have to be hired by the non-profit sector, which is the third sector. China has experienced tremendous economic growth. This is revealed not too long ago that they have a $1.2 trillion trade surplus. That is not production, that's just trade surplus with the rest of the world. That is a sign of great productivity in the profit-making sector. What it will show is that the non-profit making third sector will grow even faster in terms of employment. Right? They will be the truly important part of the solution as an economy modernizes, not only for the welfare of the entire nation, but also for employment, right? Income distribution, and of course, all the other things that we care about in a community. If we live together, we should feel responsible for each other, not just ourselves, as they do in the profit sector. The most important matter is that we need to reach out to all those in the community. And indeed, I think all of you gathered together here to participate in LEAP program shows the time has arrived for us to feel responsible for each other and not just ourselves. So thank you very much and congratulations for this very meaningful event that you have launched. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Wong. May we actually invite you back to the stage with Brian for a photo. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Wong. I believe Professor Wong will be departing shortly for another engagement, so we want to thank you so much for joining us at this special occasion. It's an honor to have you here. Thank you.
Apologize, but I'm getting hungry.
So I'm now pleased to announce our first panel discussion, which will explore the theme of building the next generation, what Asian philanthropy needs. Let's begin with a short introduction video. knowledge and skills do current C-suite leaders view as critical for the next generation of leadership? We are fortunate today to welcome our distinguished panelists who are here today to explore this question with us and share their insights. Joining us online, please welcome Kasikornthai Foundation, Chairperson of the Board of Kasikorn Bank. Kasikorn Bank is a leading financial institution at the national and ASEAN level. Kasikornthai Foundation is its primary philanthropic arm and was established to drive social and environmental sustainability in Thailand. Kasikornthai is also chairperson of Toshiba Thailand Co. Limited and former Minister of Tourism and Sport. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ms. Dipali Khanna, Senior Vice President and Head of Asia, the Rockefeller Foundation. As one of the world's most prominent foundations, the Rockefeller Foundation has a long and storied history of working with Asian communities since the early 20th century, including on issues related to health, economic development, agriculture, and climate. Welcome, Ms. Dipali Khanna. And joining us in person today, please welcome to the stage Mr. Balaji Ganapathy, founder of Social Positive and former Chief Social Responsibility Officer at Tata Consultancy Services. A veteran from Tata Group, India's largest business conglomerate, Balaji architected one of the world's largest impact portfolios at Tata and drove groundbreaking technology innovations in education, workforce development, and social entrepreneurship. He's also one of the lead faculty members of LEAP. And finally, our moderator is Ms. Gwendolyn Lim, partner and Singapore office head at the Bridgespan Group. Bridgespan is a world leader in consultancy service for nonprofits and philanthropists. With more than 20 years of consulting experience, Gwen has worked closely with IOP across multiple initiatives. Over to you, Gwen.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. And again, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. And you will see behind me a QR code. So if you have any questions for our panelists, please do submit them and then we can pose it to the panelists as we move along. Opening the panel with the first question to all three panelists. If you cast your mind back to younger days when you first entered the social impact sector, and as you were rising through to the leadership positions that you are in today, what was your biggest surprise? And had you had that, silver bullet, that specific knowledge or skill that would have mitigated the surprise? So maybe I would welcome Kasikornthai to start, then Dipali to go next, and then Balaji. So biggest surprise, Kasikornthai.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me clearly.
I can hear you perfectly.
I was about 24 years old when I started the social contribution for Toshiba company. At the time, I was very excited. I would like to realize the mission of the company to bring good things to life. I planned everything. And I have confidence that it is going to answer all the needs. But the surprise came after the work has been done. With the result of evaluation, I learned that in order to be successful in social contribution, number one, you need to be able to listen to the need of the people. I was wrong because I trust myself too much and I thought it should be the way. And at the end of the day, I learned that we should learn to listen to the others. And secondly, what I have learned is that I work alone. I have a feeling that no one can satisfy my way of doing, but then people feel that there is no ownership. And that is the second thing that I have learned from the first year of the social contribution, that we have to work together. Last but not least is the trust. I have come from the private sectors, and many times, I'm not so sure whether it's the same thing in other countries or not. people don't have trust what we are trying to do, they would always think that there should be some benefit that we will gain afterward. And so therefore, that's the big surprise for me that I have learned. But after that, I have become better, and making sure that the social contribution will create a long-lasting impact by listening more to the people, by involving more of other people, and last but not least, we have to show that at the end of the day, our real intention not to make more profit, but to give the profit to the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Kun Kokan. That's such a wonderful story.
Thank you, Gwen, and warm greetings to my fellow panelists and members of the audience. Of course, Gwen, you said, younger days. I still think I'm very young, but again, on a serious note, I started my career in 1984 with UNICEF, working on children and development issues at a time when the world looked very, very different, yet many of the core challenges were the same. The big surprise for me was how rarely problems existed in isolation, even though we often try to solve them that way. I saw early on that hunger was not just about food. Education was never just about schools, and health outcomes were deeply shaped by power, policy, infrastructure, and social norms. Yet our responses were most of the time siloed. One program, one sector, one intervention at a time. The skill I wish I had been equipped with earlier is systems thinking. The ability to really step back and see how pieces connect, how incentives shape behavior, and how change in one part of the system can unlock or block progress elsewhere. Systems thinking teaches you to ask different questions. Who holds power here? What are the feedback loops? What happens if this intervention succeeds? Who benefits and who is left out? At the end of the day, it's really about whose reality counts. It helps you move beyond treating symptoms to reshaping structures. Over time, I learned that real impact doesn't come from working harder within broken systems. It really comes from redesigning the systems themselves. That insight has stayed with me across decades, geographies, and roles. Today, whether we're talking about climate, energy access, or livelihoods, the lesson is the same. Complexity is not a reason to retreat. It's a reason to think more boldly and more holistically. And it is something I believe the next generation must be equipped with far earlier on than I was. So that's my response, Gwen. Back to you.
Awesome. Balaji.
First of all, it's such a pleasure to be here in person and meet all of you. Congratulations to the team on the launch of Leap, and great to be with my two good friends, Deepali and Kopkan, that I learned from and I still learn from a lot. I think, they had better stories than me. Mine is going to be a dumb story, When I first started working in this space, I was already an engineer. I was an entrepreneur. I was a people leader. I had done some work in the business side. I understood technology. So I came with all of that baggage. And so the first few years, about 20, 25 years ago, when I started working in this space, I looked at the balance sheet of the NGOs that we want to work with and asked this question: why is so much of money going to things that don't directly benefit the community? And looking back now, I wish I understood what it took to really make impact happen, build institutions, build organizations that can serve society. And I made it a point, I'm still a student, so I always make it a point to go back and see how organizations are today structured. How, if you're a philanthropy organization, if you're an NGO, who do you have? What's your mission? Who are the people? What's the talent? And I pride myself that that's something that I cultivated then because of the lessons that I learned because of my naivety. A couple of other quick examples. Once that gate was passed, then it was about pet projects, right? And we all know what we're talking about. You've seen this happen with the organizations where you get to the place where you feel like you have the capital, you have the resources, you want to do something big, right? So similar experience, big announcement, dream projects, and it scaled. But then we started asking the question, if you're reaching 1 million people, what difference is it really making, right? And when you go and spend time with the people that you're serving, along with the partners and the organizations who are enabling it, I think the kind of insights that you get is so different. It's humbling to then realize that all of those resources made a difference, but it's not enough. So you need to start from where the problem is, who are the people closest to it, understand what it takes to solve for it, and move from pet projects to actually things that can move the needle in a real impactful manner. So these lessons still stay with me. If I knew this 20 years ago, I probably would have been in a different position.
And I think as what Brian was talking about, the LEAP program really is for the next generation of leaders that hopefully learn from each of our experiences, And as we think about what capacity building we want to see in these next generation leaders, right? I think, first of all, we look at what do you think are the biggest needs today in the Asian philanthropic landscape? I think, Dipali talked a little bit about systems change mindsets, right? And really understanding that a lot of society's toughest problems are because they're interconnected. Kun Kop Khan talked about, really thinking and breaking down silos and really involving folks. Balaji, you talked about listening to the community. I would just love to hear, in addition to what you guys have already said, and maybe I'll start with Dipali and then also ask Kun Kop Khan weigh in. It's when you look at the landscape for philanthropy in Asia today, what do you see are those biggest needs, that we should help next generation understand and build skills in order for funders and foundations to achieve greater impact?
Let me try and distill it to one thing. And I would say Asia needs funders to adopt a big bets mindset, not a pet mindset, big bets mindset. A big bets mindset is not about spending more money. It's really about thinking differently about risk, ambition, and scale. Too often, philanthropy plays it very safe. Incremental pilots, short timelines, and fragmented efforts have never really matched the scale of the challenge. We must align with local and national agendas instead of coming with our own priorities and our own agendas as foundations and philanthropists. And these are the aspects that we at the Rockefeller Foundation also strive to address in our work. Asia's challenges, from climate vulnerability to inequality, are vast, interconnected, and fast-moving. They require bold, transformative solutions, not marginalized fixes. A big bets mindset means committing to deep problem solving, embracing uncertainty, and staying the course long enough for systems to shift. It also means building unlikely partnerships. And you'll be very comfortable just talking to the usual partners, but I'm really emphasizing we need to build unlikely partnerships across government, business, civil society, and communities, and being willing to convene actors who don't naturally sit together at the same table. Some of the most powerful breakthroughs happen at those intersections. Crucially, big bets are grounded in measurable results. This isn't about big ideas without accountability. It's about clear outcomes, learning fast, adapting relentlessly, and persisting even when the path isn't linear. In Asia, where innovation, capital, and talent are abundant, philanthropy has a unique role to play as risk capital, backing ideas others won't, creating space for experimentation, and unlocking scale where markets or governments alone cannot. So the opportunity before us is enormous, but it requires funders to move beyond comfort, beyond consensus, and truly towards conviction.
That's amazing to hear. Yep. Kun Kop Khan, your thoughts on biggest needs that funders need to face in order to achieve greater impact?
Okay, following what you have just said, Dipali, about clear outcome, that is the thing that I think can prove, for example, even with the head of Kasikorn Bank, shareholder might start asking, what are you doing? Is it a waste of money, or are you really making an impact to solve the problem of the people? And to us, there are a few key skills that we should have and that we are now doing. Number one is collaboration. In order to create real impact, we should not work alone like what I used to do in the past. We need to have a collaboration with the community, with the local authority, and with so many other people in that area, so that they will help to make this as a part of their life. And we want to make sure that at the end of the day, we will not be there forever. They should be able to take care of themselves. Secondly, in order to make a real impact and a clear outcome, we need to concentrate. We cannot do everything. We can change or come up with new project every day, every month. We need to help this, help that. But in order to realize what we would like to do, we need to be selective. What we think is best for the country, or what is best for our organization. And when we concentrate, the outcome can come up. And what I say about concentration, because in Thailand, we might be the one who stay and make it happen throughout the years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years until it is done. But many times the local people, the local government, they change. And a new one coming in, and we have to start all over again. And so therefore, leading to number 3 is about continuity. If we have people who understand us, but sometimes they have to leave because they transfer to other places. But we have to be the one to stick on to our project in order to make it happen. Last but not least is the communication. What we are doing, we have to make sure that our shareholder understand us, the people understand us, the local people, even the government. And as I have said earlier, many times, even what we are now doing in Nan province, in the beginning, people doubt, why are you doing this in our province? You must want to get something at the end of the day. And so therefore, communication, it might take time, but we need to be able to communicate to them why we are doing this and why we select this project, why we select this location. And we have overcome that already. But these are the things that we want to make sure that at the end of the day, the result will explain to all.
That's great. And Balaji, as you hear what Dipali and Kunkop kind of saying about the greatest needs in order to achieve impact, and as you think about next generation leaders coming up, people who would be in the LEAP program, what are some of those key capabilities that you would like to see them, build, and as part of LEAP faculty that you're most excited about?
I think a couple of things. One is that understanding that the responsibility that we all hold in this sector is a very challenging responsibility. These are very wicked problems that you cannot solve easily, which is why governments and industries not able to fully solve for. So it requires, I would say, 3 things to think about. One is what kind of a person are you? If you have to be a leader of philanthropy, you have to have that boldness where you're bold and taking initiative and innovating. But along with that, you need to have humility in understanding that there are things that already work. What can you do to learn from that and replicate? But have the long horizon of patience and perseverance to say that at the end of the day, till the work is done, we will be here. So taking that long-term view, having that long horizon, and understanding what it takes to create real impact. So if that is the kind of leader that is required in a time like this to achieve the kind of things that Dipali and Kopkan talked about are the present nature of challenges, I think the opportunity to learn from each other as a peer group is a very, very unique opportunity because you have others who are walking through the same path, who are going through the similar challenges, but are able to solve for some and not solve for others. So you can give and contribute to, but you can also get ideas and experiences from. I think the greatest joy is to be part of that sort of a tribe where others are experiencing the same thing and you can learn from. The second that I'm looking forward to, especially in LEAP, is the real world flavor of the challenges that you can bring in. If you're part of this program, what if you had the opportunity to bring your biggest rock that you as an organization or you as a set of partners have not able to solve for? And you have this whole 6 months experience to work on it, not only from your perspective of how you are gaining the skill sets, the toolkits, and the mindset to work on it, but see others applying similar skills and solving for their problems. I think it opens up a whole horizon of being able to focus and work on a problem and look at it from all the dimensions that are required to solve that problem, and then emerge at the end of it knowing that you're not only emerging as a leader who is learning, but applying that to the biggest challenge that your organization or your set of partners may be facing, right? So I think these are very, very unique opportunities. I can tell you around the world, I've experienced the kind of programs that are running, and this is so innovative in that context. The, um, the final one is being able to see examples of and learn from what is the best and brightest that's happening in the Asian countries. I think that moment has just arrived, especially with the work of Institute of Philanthropy and the Commission on Asian Philanthropy. There are others that are doing research in this space. So instead of looking at Western templates and borrowing from it or adapting from it, for the first time, the opportunity to look at ground up research and what is working in Thailand, what is working in Singapore, what's working in Malaysia, what's working in India, China, and bring that knowledge to yourself and your organization. So these are three things I'm so excited about. And I wish, like the dean spoke about, that I could be 20 years younger and come and participate in this program. So it's a privilege, I can tell you, to be a part of this for you.
Great. Really thank you to everybody who's been adding questions on the chat. There's quite a few, so I only have 5 minutes left, so I'll only be able to hit one. But as LEAP is really meant to be bringing together folks from across the world and especially in Asia, Prof talked about it being the Asian century. One of the questions that we got was, given the diversity of Asia in terms of culture, linguistic competency is huge. How do folks on this panel, in quick response, how should next generation leaders think about developing the skills to thoughtfully engage with issues across different Asia diasporic communities or on the ground in specific countries? Like, for example, I know, Dipali, you do a lot in climate and health, but how that shows up in different Asian countries is so different. How do you think about drawing that all together, and what's that skill like?
Great question, Gwen. I think, it's really important because culture plays such an important role in all the work that we do in terms of shaping us, what we truly believe in, our value system, etc. So I think I really would encourage that, time is spent in understanding the core values of, what you're bringing to the table and how they become really important. I think, I truly believe that, what is really important is that lived experience, because, the humility that is needed to seek it out, to truly serve people, you need to understand how they live, not just how they appear in reports or dashboards. So some of the important insights are not going to come from boardrooms. They come from villages, clinics, informal settlements, farms, and classrooms. And, again, just kind of really understanding what's happening in each of the geographies. What does it mean? Talking about it. When leaders spend time, and really the more they can immerse together in a geography, but they bring all their value systems and their culture together, they begin to see how issues are deeply interconnected. Climate, as you mentioned, is not separate from health. Livelihoods are not separate from dignity. Gender, mobility, energy, opportunity intersect in very real human ways. So lived experience builds empathy, and empathy sharpens decision making. It helps leaders ask better questions, avoid false assumptions, and really design solutions that reflect reality rather than theory. So I think being intentional about proximity, about listening, observing, learning directly from the people whose lives are affected by our choices, the more time that's spent around that would really be helpful. And of course, the next generation, whatever culture, value system you're coming from, must combine analytical rigor with human understanding. Data matters, but so does context. So, strategy along with empathy is equally important. So the leaders are those who recognize that people closest to the problem are often closest to the solution. As the people that we aim to serve, their reality and lived experience should be kept front and center, their culture, their values, and how do we really respect and show up, because that's how trust is going to be built, how they're going to have faith in what you're trying to do. And, their reality counts, really keeping them and walking the talk. They're very, very smart, just because we've studied and got these degrees, people in communities really pick up, how you're showing up. Are you really talking about your values? How are they showing up in your day-to-day behavior? So I think experiencing all that would be just so powerful. I'll stop there.
Anything to add, Kumkalkan or Balaji?
I would like to pass on my thought to the audience, to the student, potential student. I think it will never be easy.
No.
You have problems, you face crisis and whatnot, in whichever way that you would like to go or would like to do. So I think number one, you must have purpose in life. What is your mission? I started the social contribution because I believe in the mission of my company, bring good things to life. We are not only doing business for the sake of making profit. Definitely we want, but we want to make sure that the money that we make would go and help the needy, the friends, the community around the country. So I think whatever you want to do, clear your thought. Why are you here? What do you want to achieve? And after that, you must believe in yourself. You can say that, oh, I cannot do like Tata, oh, you're a big guy. Rockefeller, you can do anything because you have a lot of people, you have budget and whatnot. I believe money is not everything. Even you started from small, from the foundation, you can make a difference. So secondly, after purpose, you must believe in your power. And I do hope that by networking with the people around you, especially in the class, I think you will find a lot of experience, but most of all, the power of giving. And that will inspire you to go on and make it happen. Problems happen everywhere. It can be similar and different from place to place. But if you have the strength to work on the detail and never give up, I think you can achieve what you want to do.
Amazing. With those beautiful words, I would like to thank all three panelists. I think a lot of good energy going forward to the next generation and capacity building. And again, thank you so much for sharing about your own journeys and your own takes on what are some of those key needs and changes in individual behaviors as well as thinking that you would love to see the next generation embrace. So thank you so much to Dipali, Kunkopkan, and Balaji for joining me, and handing it back over to
Thank you. And I believe we're going to take one quick photo. So if you could.
Yeah, it's interesting to
Smile. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now I'm pleased to share that we will move on to our second panel discussion, exploring the theme of cultivating leadership in Asian philanthropy. Once again, we'll begin with a short introductory video. All right, so we are now pleased to invite the distinguished faculty who will be leading LEAP to discuss how this fellowship will uniquely support and grow the talent stream and how this will meet a critical need in the philanthropy sector. So joining us online, please welcome Mr. John Floretta, Global Deputy Director of the Abdul, Latif, Jameel Poverty Action Lab. JPAL is a global research center based at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, founded by Nobel Prize winners Esther Duflo and Abhijit Banerjee. John has been leading JPAL's strategic development since 2020 to accelerate its efforts in catalyzing the scale up of evidence-informed policies to reduce poverty. Prior to JPAL, he also held various roles within the UN. Welcome, John. And next we have Professor Stephen Chambers, Director and Professor in Practice at the Marshall Institute for Philanthropy and Social Entrepreneurship at the London School of Economics and Political Science. The Marshall Institute is one of the leading institutions working to improve the impact and effectiveness of private action for public benefit. Stephen was co-founder of the Skoll World Forum and chair of the Skoll Center for Social Entrepreneurship at Oxford. Welcome, Professor Chambers.
It's an honor to be here.
And joining us in person today, I'd like to welcome to the stage Professor Guojun He, the Hong Kong Jockey Club Professor in Economics and Director of the HKU Jockey Club Enterprise Sustainability Global Research Institute. The institute was established by HKU Business School and funded by the Hong Kong Jockey Club Charities Trust to establish a world-class hub for best practices of sustainability in Hong Kong, Asia, and beyond. Professor He is a leading economist working on environmental development and governance issues. And finally, our moderator, Mr. Brian Zan, Secretary General of IOP. Brian's been leading the Institute of Philanthropy since 2024 to promote philanthropic thought leadership and innovative solutions together with its funder partners for the common good of societies everywhere. Over to you, Brian.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. And thank you again, everyone. We will keep this punchy, but really for our final panel, for our second and final panel today, delighted, absolutely delighted to be able to invite our lead faculty to share a little bit more about what they'll be teaching, why they see the program to be different, and also opportunities for anyone here to be able to ask to our faculty directly. Now, we've just heard the last panel speak about the needs of Asian philanthropy, what kind of the talent needs are there. Against those needs, we also see a major gap. I think that will be of no news to anyone who has tried to hire, tried to build out their teams. Talent is scarce. Leadership talents is even more scarce. And when we look at organizations who are trying to build that talent, I wonder if I could maybe ask to Guojun how you see LEAP will really be able to help this, both for the participants, but also for their organizations.
Yes. Yes, thank you for the question. Just what you see from the faculty combinations, we really try to combine three things that matter most for this sector. First, leadership. The second, impact measurement. And the last one, how to scale those impacts and bring that to policy changes. So we bring the best faculties across all those institutions together. And within each module, we already spent many hours trying to come up with a specific plan, what we want to teach, and how we want to make the student to learn something from this program. I think from my perspective, what is really unique is also about the methodology of this entire program. Right, starting from leadership, we are going to have case studies, we are going to have in-depth discussion. We also have kind of field trips to those leading foundations at the same time. Related to methodology, we teach you how to collect data. We are going to talk about RCTs, we are going to talking about program evaluation, we are going to talking about how to do randomized control trials, which personally and myself are doing a lot of work. And in the last sector, in the last module, we will have professors that are basically going to say how we escalate those impacts from pilots, from small programs, all the way to policy making to attract both private and public funds into those domains. So the really uniqueness is a combination of those teams that bring up not just new perspectives, but also new methodologies. That's what I think.
Thank you so much, Guojun. And did want to invite everyone. The QR code is still there, and for everyone online as well, please feel free to send in your questions to the faculty. I see a number here that are a little bit more about the logistics of the program, the administration. So our team will definitely be able to handle those about admission criteria, etc. But really sort of welcome any of the questions. Please do keep them coming. Now, maybe if I could direct this question at both Stefan and John. And so Guojun really shared a bit about the curriculum and the coverage of the program. But so stepping back a little bit, and obviously this program comes at this unique and very interesting time in history, substantial geopolitical shifts, cutbacks in international funding. A lot of the program really hopes to tackle that head on. Maybe if I could ask, starting with Stefan and then moving on to John, how would you see, in terms of your own modules, in terms of what you're teaching, to build this greater resilience in future leaders to be able to handle that type of situation?
Thank you, Brian. And just before I answer your question, I just wanted to say what an honor it is for the London School of Economics, for my Marshall Institute, and for me to be part of what I think is a transformative and important venture. So thank you for all the work you have done to get us here and to have this program starting in April. The real answer to your question is, I think that one way to frame the world is as a competition between threats and opportunities. And at different points in history, we're at different points in that equilibrium. And that needs two things. For that to tilt in favor of opportunity and away from threat, it needs two things. It needs creative, energetic, well-informed people. It needs the energy of leadership to tilt that in favor of opportunity. And the second thing it needs is experimentation, or to use a different language, evidence. We need to know by virtue of what we are making a difference. And what I think is most exciting about the LEAP program is its focus on the talent that is required to be added to all the extraordinary positives that the world represents. The science, the technology, the engineering, the ideas, the cultures, the context, all of those things are hugely, hugely positive. And they set against all the things that we worry about in geopolitics and in economics and in climate and so on. And what's required is a generation after generation of people who understand how to tilt that in our favor. And that's why I think the LEAP program is potentially genuinely transformative.
Thank you so much, Stefan. John, maybe seeing anything to add to that?
Well, I joined Stefan in just saying thank you to IOP and for the opportunity to be part of the LEAP program. I mean, for JPAL to be part of this course to help train and cultivate the next generation of leaders in the philanthropic sector in Asia is just, a remarkable, thing and opportunity for us. JPAL wouldn't be JPAL without the investments that we've received from philanthropy, and including philanthropy from Asia. I mean, the community Jameel and the Jameel family has made possible through an investment 23 years ago, this lab at MIT that has grown and has really benefited from, to Polly's point earlier, some of these big bets that philanthropy has taken. So the opportunity to try to pay that back in some way, to engage with the next generation is really humbling and really exciting. I think to your question, this is a very unique moment in the world in philanthropy. There are fewer resources in some places. The stakes are higher, but so is the potential for impact. At JPAL, we tried to focus on solutions that are both, cost effective and effective. So, what can JPAL bring? Why are we excited to be part of this? Part of it is, as Guojun mentioned, is this focus on impact and data and evidence, and kind of the nitty gritty about how one can think about that in terms of theory of change and one can measure impact. But then to Stefan's point, I really do think it's the connection between impact and how it connects innovation and the potential for scale and systems change. And that's what I think is really exciting about the LEAP program. It's not looking at Asia philanthropy in a silo or impact in a silo or scale through the private sector and government in a silo. It really integrates them. And so to be part of this, I think, is something that we're certainly excited to contribute to and to be with the remarkable participants that I'm sure IOP will have sign up for the course.
And no, absolutely. Thank you so much, John. We have a question from the group, and I'm wondering if I could sort of twist this a little. So the question is, are you accepting participants from outside Asia for this cohort? I think we absolutely are. Anyone who's interested in Asian philanthropy doesn't necessarily need to be currently in Asia, but we would be, we would be looking at all participants. But maybe if I could twist that and ask, because there will be such a diversity of participants. I mean, even in this crowd, even in this room, we've got 25 different countries and jurisdictions represented, both in person and online. How will you teach that? Everyone comes with a different experience. You heard Dipali and Kokbar, and they were talking, and Balaji talking. You have to listen. That is a lot of listening and a lot of very different perspectives. How would you think of bringing that together in the group to make something meaningful for Asian philanthropy? Maybe if I could point to Stefan to take a first crack at that.
Thank you. It's a great question. And I might, if I may, answer it slightly kind of autobiographically. I've spent my adult life in university classrooms, and most of which have had a hugely diverse range of students with amazingly diverse professional, national, and intellectual backgrounds. And what I've learned over those decades is that that's where the magic happens. The magic happens when not everyone in the room shares the same set of assumptions. Not everyone in the room does the same thing at work. Not everyone in the room comes from the same country. And if you think about the sheer variety of philanthropy, from remittances, from families, from faith groups, from organized capital in foundations, to family offices, to small donations, you realize that this diversity is in the sector as well as in the delegates that we hope to attract to LEAP. So my own view is that we embrace that difference. We learn from that difference. When a classroom works well, it's an exchange of insight between the people at the front of the room and the people in the room and the people between the people in the room. And that's what I hope LEAP will achieve.
Well, thank you so much, Stefan. Another one, and this one maybe I'll direct it at John. So Guojun gave a little bit of explanation just now about why we chose these three specific topics: leadership, impact measurement, and sort of policymaking collaboration, moving beyond the sector as the three key modules. John, I wonder if you could share your perspective, having seen and studied for decades of what actually makes long-lasting impact. Why would you think that these three are the ones to be focusing on in programs like this?
I mean, I think for me, I'm really excited to learn about the approach that Hong Kong U will be taking to leadership. I think some of the points that we heard in this last panel about what's the motivation and the values informing philanthropy. I really liked DePauli's point on lived experience, connecting to empathy, to connecting to decision making. So I think having a core sense of what are the objectives that we're trying to achieve through philanthropy, I think is essential, and that can only come with a strong grounding in values and a strong grounding in leadership. And I'm really excited as well for the interconnectivity between, yes, like a focus on thinking about what are the types of programs that we're investing in that are already grounded in evidence, thinking about how we measure a theory of change and how we can measure impact robustly. But, evidence is important, data is important, but what's truly important is when that can be used as a lens to help shape systems, to help drive change exponentially. And you really don't get there without meaningful collaborations with governments and with the private sector. And so the Marshall Institutes and Stefan's sessions will really be focused on that. And so I think it's just a very vibrant interconnectivity and something that I also agree with some of the previous panelists is quite unique. I haven't seen such a clear focus on bringing different leaders in the field, but not as silos, to think about the interconnectivity of these three aspects.
Fantastic, thank you. And there's one really good question from the group, which I'll probably use as the ending question. We talk about impact measurement. Obviously, there is also what's a measure of success for this program. So Guojun, maybe if I could invite you to speak on what would see a successful program for this, but also what would you see as a good success for the participants as well?
This is a great question. So. Just like what we want to train a student to understand how to measure impacts, we also want to make sure that we also deliver the impacts. So if you see that a lot of components in this program are very unique. For example, we have one-to-one mentorship program so that you actually can work with some seniors in the professional professors to solve the issue. Right? Identify a problem, and through this process, you're going to work through this process. In the end, we hope to foster this collaboration. And at the same time, I think as you can see that we really place a lot of emphasis on methodologies. We involve J-PAL really trying to revolutionize how people think about impact, how people think about impact assessment, how people should invest or use the money. So I think in the longer run, I would hope really from this group of students, we see more and more those impact cases with solid data support. And in the end, they would be bring up to the higher levels, attract additional funding, and even drive up policy changes.
No, thank you, Guojun. I think Stefan and John, not letting you off the hook for that one. How would you see success for this program if you were to measure it yourself? Maybe to Stefan first.
Well, there are two measures of success in my mind. The first is that this program establishes itself as the leading platform to develop philanthropic leadership in Asia. So we can measure that as you wish, but more in more abstract terms. If you think about the philanthropy as an asset class, Let's pretend that we know that it is roughly $2 trillion of global capital. And then let's pretend that global GDP is something in the order of 120 trillion. And then let's pretend that the nature of the challenges that we face, environmentally, socially, economically, are some number bigger than 2 and less than 120. Then success for LEAP is about giving people the mechanisms and the insights and the confidence to make a bridge between the experimental capital pool, let's call it the 2 trillion, and the scale of the problem, which is significantly greater than 2 trillion. To have the confidence to make those experiments and the modesty to recognize that philanthropy on its own can't do it.
Amazing. Thank you, Stefan. And John, maybe you could round us off.
Thank you. Looking at the second module that JPAL is anchoring, what we're going to see as success is if we can help contribute towards, within philanthropies, evidence and data champions who challenge the status quo and strengthen solutions to achieve sustainable impact. And so that's about cultivating a continuous and learning innovation mindset. It's about empowering teams and partners and grantees to drive innovation with a lens of evidence and connected to thinking about systems change. And a point that Balaji made that I really resonated with me as well is that we can learn from each other. So like if some of the participants are learning from each other, experience their approaches, what's working and what's failing, that will really make it feel like a community that's really trying to shape a new way of approaching philanthropy in Asia.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sean. And with that, I think we'll wrap up this session. Maybe a round of applause for the faculty. A little bit of a teaser. So if you would like to hear more from our faculty, but also from Balaji and from other faculty, I will be bringing in other great industry experts. Please do think about applying for the program. As we end off, just really wanted to say thank you to everyone. What a fantastic session tonight. I'd really like to take a moment to reflect on why we feel that this program matters, what it represents for the future of philanthropy in Asia. I really feel that with this program in particular, we are building something that brings together academic rigor, brings together practitioner insight, connecting theory with the lived realities of what we face every day. I mean, in ourselves, IOP, we're grant makers, as well as working on this with our colleagues at the Jockey Club. Really that these challenges are ones that I'm sure with all of us sort of tackle on a daily basis. We really hope that this helps leaders like you turn big ideas into solutions that improve lives. It creates a community of practice that extends across borders. Together, this program will help you exchange ideas, you'll share challenges, and we will celebrate success together. So thank you all for joining us, for your partnership, and for believing in us, and also believing that leadership in this way, guided by evidence, guided by impact, guided by generosity, really changes our shared future. So thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you, everyone, for joining us online. And for those of you in person, really looking forward to ending off the night with some great drinks and some snacks later on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Happy New Year, by the way. Happy New Year.
Yes.